Close that. Now I'm just moving my screens around. Okay. All right, I think I'm good. I did it all. I'm ready now. Sorry. Where's my pen though? I do want a pen. Mike Man needs a pen. Mike Man needs a pen. That pen's dead. There you go. Hi, everybody. How we going? How we doing? Let's talk. Oh my gosh, Janelle, you're doing double duty today. You're on both of these. Oh, let me grab my smoothie. Hold on. Okay. I'm here, everybody. I'm here for all of your questions and your answers. Whether you are on here live with me, whether you are in one of these other lives, I am here and ready for your question. So, who would like to start? I generally start with the people in the Zoom. So, Jen, any questions for me today? I can push a button that will make that easier for you. There you go. Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't know if I have any questions quite yet. I'm new. I'm here to learn as much as I possibly can and just get with the flow of things. So
amazing. Jen, are you in any of our courses right now?
Yes, the psychism course on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I thought I recognized you. So okay, cool, awesome. Well,
yeah.
You're here. So all of you actually are in the psychism course together. So I don't know if you already know Janelle and Nat, but they are also in the psychism course with you. So awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you. You too.
Amazing. Okay, so yeah, just kick back, relax, Jen. If you do think of a question, just raise your hand and I'll come to you. You can write it down too if you want. So yeah.
One question I might have. Yeah. So I signed up for circles or I don't know what the name of it is.
The practice circle?
Yeah. So it was more on mediumship. Yeah. Now, is it fine to do that?
That is fine. I actually spoke to...
good to do that?
Yeah, I just spoke to Kelly, and she told me that she kind of adjusted that class to kind of fit you guys, which was cool. So I would say for any practice circles, you're welcome to go do that. Just let Kelly know kind of what you're working on. I'm going to let her know what the exercise was each class as we kind of keep going. And then you'll be able to attend if you want to. I will say, right now it's the early part of it. So for the next probably few weeks, there's probably not a whole lot to do with that, but you still are welcome to go. Probably once we start doing exercises and practicing, actually reading each other, there's probably more value at that point. But you're welcome to do it if you'd like to do it.
I think my value was just like having the opportunity to sit in the power with a group. Perfect. Rather than, because that's my struggle alone. My mind goes, I don't know. I feel like I'm more focused in a group doing that 100%. Than. And that's probably my next question. Like, what should I be? I don't even know how to ask it. I don't know. Yeah.
What should I be doing? How can I help my sitting in the power? Is there?
Yeah. Well, I've been trying like this for not just recently. Like I'll say a couple of years.
Okay.
But I feel so scatterbrained when I go to sit and. But I feel things without sitting in the like. I feel things around. I feel something, just in my regular everyday. So, yeah, I'm wondering if I'm not doing it right. If I'm. Sure. Is it normal for me to struggle like this?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you are already having a practice for sitting in the power or a meditative practice, it's very normal.
I just try to slow my mind down, like stop thinking about
Yeah.
things, and then I like not instantly, but not I can't do it for very long. I don't want to say I can't. I'm not able to do it for very long
Yeah, so
without.
that's something that definitely want to address and talk about. So when we're meditating, when we're sitting in the power, it's not about us having nothing going on in our mind. So that's a misconception about what meditation is supposed to look, feel, or be like. It's about us learning to quiet the thinking mind. A couple things need to happen for that. Number one, we are going to take our attention into what we're feeling rather than thinking about what we're thinking about. So I'm going to notice my breath. I'm going to notice the rising and subsiding of my breath. And I'm also going to start to take my attention a little bit wider. As we kind of keep going, like after the next couple of weeks, you'll start to feel and sense the atmosphere that we're referring to. And this will make this a lot easier for you because you'll start to recognize, oh, when I feel XYZ, that means it's working and I can keep surrendering and letting go. And then you use that as sort of something to pay attention to. Right now, you're just trying to sit and be still and be quiet. And that is a little bit more difficult, right? So once you have a little bit more energetic awareness and sensitivity, I'm sure that will become more obvious on what you should be paying attention to. But the idea is, it's not about your mind having nothing going on. It's about not letting your thoughts sort of, well, I shouldn't say not letting. It's about accepting whatever's happening in your thinking mind and then taking your attention back to what am I feeling / your breath. So those are the things that you would want to be paying attention to, is the rising and subsiding, and then taking your attention just ever so slightly. And if you follow the meditation that I have, the sitting in the power meditation, then you just follow along and you just let your awareness sort of expand with that. And then as that's happening, you're going to start to notice the sensations, the feelings, the things that occur when that's happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so these are the things that I am feeling. Like I'll sit there and I will get so hot, like I feel like I'm gonna start fire. Is that something that should be going on?
That
I do
can
get body
happen.
chills, and I do get like breezes. So I feel breezes past me, you know. So those are feelings that I am getting.
Yeah.
Um,
So one of the things that
and
I'll
then
say is that the sensations are going to be tingling, buzzing, warmth, heaviness, thickness in the atmosphere. Those are the things that are helpful to let us know that we're kind of doing this right. So the tingling, buzzing, warmth, heaviness, thickness in the atmosphere.
okay, then that's what I'm getting.
Perfect. We love that. And so then what we do is we notice that, we accept it, and then we relax, do less. So every time that we notice one of those sensations, we go, oh, cool, that's happening. That means I can do less. Oh, cool, I'm sensing that. That means I can do less. And so we're using those as indicators that it's going the right direction. And then I want to learn to soften and let go. Next week, we're going to be exploring, or this week, or yeah, I guess this week, we're going to be exploring, how do I let go? How do I surrender? And then once you can start to get good at that, then it really starts to make this process easier, because now I've noticed that I'm feeling tingling, and then I accept that that's happening, and then I do the process of surrender. And when I let go, then something's going to shift in my energy. I notice whatever's happening. I accept that that's there, and then I relax and let go again and surrender. And so it becomes this process of notice, accept, let it go, notice, accept, let it go. And eventually that relaxes us, opens up. And then we start to move into this higher state in our awareness. And that's what will help to kind of quiet the thinking mind and all of that sort of thing. But it's also very normal to have a busy mind for the first 10 to 15 minutes when you sit down to do any kind of sitting in the power. So try to get to the 20 to 30 minute mark, especially the 30 minute ideally, because that first 10, 15 minutes, you're going to be like, and your brain's going to be monkey mind and going all over the place. But what eventually happens is that you start to relax and you start to let go and you start to surrender as time goes on, and then that sort of calms down. So a lot of people give up long before that, because they get frustrated.
Yeah,
right? They're like, oh, it's not going away. So I always try to tell people, like, just recognize that absolutely you're going to have a busy thinking mind, but you just have to keep going. You have to keep doing the practice. And it's like working out in the gym, right? It's working out a muscle. It gets stronger and stronger and easier to do as time goes on.
So I've been trying to look for your meditation too. Where can I find that?
That's at mediummichaelmayo.com. And
So I went to there and it said the page is closed. Am I doing something wrong?
try again. Let's see. Because it should
Yeah,
be fine. MediumMichaelMayo.com. Mayo is my last name. And my Michael is
Medium.
AEL.
Okay. I'll look for that again.
Yeah,
and it's not on Spotify or YouTube or anything as far as that goes.
Correct. So it's something you have to download. Medium Michael. I'm just gonna pull it up right now, and I'll just send you the link in the chat. I don't know if that will be helpful, or I can always email it to you.
If you email it to me, that would be better. I'm kind of new to this whole Zoom thing too.
Sure, no problem.
I'm right out of the womb.
If you can do me a favor, actually, and this will make it even easier. If you just send a message to Marissa at support@oakbridgeinstitute.org, or if you just go to oakbridgeinstitute.org and write a little thing, just send her a message and say, Michael said to send me the meditation, and I'll have it sent to you.
All right, perfect. Thank you for spending this time.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you, answering.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Other questions? Everybody else? What else do we got? Kat says, I have that meditation and I love it. Oh, someone posted something. Did you pin that? Did someone pin something here?
In the chat, I put the link to your meditations.
Oh, thank you so much. I saw the little pin for a moment and then I pushed the wrong button, so that was fun. Yeah, so questions, thoughts, feelings, opinions.
I have a follow-up question to sitting in the power.
Please.
Well, I came with a different question, but I'll continue this train of thought.
Yeah.
So when I started mediumship with you, you taught me like you're always on, you can shut it down. So you taught me how to like be open and closed, which is awesome. So my question is, with psychism, is it the same concept?
Yeah, good question.
Because I sit in the power with a little home circle. I sit in the power with a little home circle.
Yeah.
And when I sit in the power, at the very end, sometimes my guides will show, a certain new guide will show me something. He'll just like come in at the end and be like, this is for this person, boop, 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 boop. And now that's happening when I'm sitting by myself, when I'm sitting in the power. And so I'll reach out to one of my home circle homies and I'll be like, hey, are you open to hearing whatever happened? If you're not, like, that's totally fine and cool, great, like no worries. And it will eventually, like, it leads us to a deep, meaningful conversation and it will like make sense or whatever. Or also I have another person in the home circle and every time I text her, think about her, something just pops in and I'll be like, hey, like, I just smelt this when I was texting you. And she'll be like, that's crazy because yesterday that was exactly what I was doing. And I'm like, what? And that's been picking up since we've been sitting together a lot. Sure. So is this like and I know she's open to hearing about it. Like she's been like, send it, do it, like whatever. I'm here all the time for this. And like, I'll get messages from whatever. So is this like the same thing? Am I just like out there being wild and open when I shouldn't be? Or is this something like what?
Yeah, I mean, we can get information from people that we are close to. I mean, that just happens all the time. I mean, regularly I pick up what Miranda's thinking or doing, or we send each other things all the time at the same exact moment, or I answer questions that people are thinking in the moment, like that they're gonna ask me that they haven't asked me, and I just text them the answer. And it just happens naturally. It's not like I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna do this. I just suddenly felt like I need to just say something to this person, and then it's there. That's this very normal, natural sort of psychic awareness that just kind of happens. If it's kind of coming in on, sitting in the power and things like that, it's not a bad thing. It's fine. It's, do I like this or not? If I'm cool with it, then great, cool. Just keep doing that, and that's going to be normal. If there's any part of me that doesn't want to do that, then you just make that intention, right? So you take your attention and your intention that, okay, I'm not going to get this information. This is my time, but it can come maybe at a different time that you designate. So it's about what you're comfortable with and then setting the intention. Right now, you're just kind of open, right? You're just kind of like, whatever, if it happens, it happens. But you can also add those sort of parameters there and just have the intention. And that's not to say that I would say it would greatly decrease it, is what I would say. It might still happen a little bit just because you happen to be open and you pick up on something. But yeah, it's all about whether you want that to happen or not.
Yeah.
If you're fine with it, great. Then that's what's going to keep it happening. If you're not, then you'll close it down. But there is a natural sort of, I mean, honestly, I use this sort of as a barometer of like, how connected am I on the regular? Because when I do sit regularly, when I do these sorts of awarenesses, those kinds of things happen just naturally, right? Like I just become aware of these things. And I think that's a okay thing, because it's not disrupting anything. It's not doing anything. It just is, right? Like it's just what's happening. So yeah, I have no problem with that happening, as long as you don't have a problem with that happening.
I mean, it's just the story of my life since I can remember. So it's just, but it is ramped up now. Now it's like, okay. And as having a close relationship with someone, being closer and having that happen more makes sense like that. Totally. I didn't think about that. So that makes so much sense.
My closest friends, like regularly, will, and it's like weird because I can't even call it like I become aware of something. It just happens. Like I just responded to them because like it happened perfectly last night or the other night. I was chatting with my friend, and all of a sudden I was like, I need to get my phone. I need to get my phone. Where's my phone? And I was like looking for my phone. And in that exact minute, my best friend was calling me. Like I knew that I needed to, it's like it was ringing in my being that he was, trying to contact me. And it was, that kind of thing happens when you're more connected and more connected and more connected, and especially with the closest people to you. Definitely doesn't for me happen with strangers. The only time it happens with strangers is if I had just done a reading, how like I'm still a little bit in that space, that kind of afterglow sensitive state, and I happen to interact with someone and I'm like, oh, interesting, little bit of information came in, and then I just ignore it because that's what you do when you pick up on something that you can't necessarily give. You just go, okay, cool, ignore it.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. Great.
So,
and
it's normal. Basically, great. Long story short.
That's what I was wondering. I was just like, is this something that I need to be like, when I sat in the power, my guide brought me, he was showing me all this stuff. And then he brought me to a specific person who I've never asked, is it okay if I share stuff with you? So I was like, okay, can you stop that now? And like, now that we got to a person that you led this message to, let's just close it down and let's just relax and let go of all of this and go back to feel. And it worked and it was fine, but yeah. Cool.
Very good. What's your other question?
Yeah. So my other question is about mediumship. And it was the last reading that I did. Well, not the last one, in the public one. And it at one point, it all made sense to him. He could understand everything. And that's all that really matters to me. However, I want to make sure that I'm still, if there's something I can improve or do differently, I would love that. He established who the three communicators were. And towards the end, it was messages, followed by a piece of validation so he could make sense of who it was. But it felt like a conversation was just happening in my room and I didn't know who was saying what. I couldn't figure that out. So I would just say what I was picking up from this conversation, say what followed, and that made sense to him. And then another message, like it just felt like a conversation, which has never happened like that before.
Sure. Yeah, and that can happen. Absolutely. So there are going to be times where you have a very clear sense of, especially when you have multiple spirit communicators, where you know exactly who it's coming from. This is coming from this person, this is coming from that person, etc. Sometimes, and I guess there'd be many questions as to why that would happen, or many options as to why it would happen. But sometimes there is a sense of like, you know what, it's not really distinct who this is coming from. I know it's still coming from spirit, but I don't know exactly where or like what specific communicator is. That's okay. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. And what we want to be aware of is, first of all, am I getting this psychically or am I getting this mediumistically? If I know I have a communicator somewhere in the space that's working with me, then I will be very aware, I will become aware that this is definitely mediumistic, right? What's happening is that you just need to just slightly attune, just slightly more, to one or multiple of your communicators. And that just very subtle, deeper blending will make it more obvious who's communicating. So it just means it just needed just a little bit more surrender, a little bit more relaxing, turning that knob just a little bit more, and then it should make it clearer. Oh, okay, this guy's here. Oh, this guy's here. Or even just in your own awareness, being like, can you separate a little bit more clearly so I know who is communicating? You could even offer that sort of thing. And oftentimes they'll just sort of sort themselves out, and then you'll start to feel it. Like you'll feel like, oh, I feel the energy building here. When I got that piece of information, I feel like it's coming from this direction. I feel like it's coming from behind me. You sort of get a little bit of an energetic confirmation as to who's bringing forward the information. But otherwise, if you ever find yourself in that position and none of the other things kind of were making it change, you just say, fuck it, here we go. I'm just going to give you all the information that's coming, and it's up to you to sort of sort it out, and that's okay.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah, it's normally like that where it's like, okay, this person, I feel them here, I feel them here, and I feel them here. But this time, it was like I was in soup. They just all went to the same spot, and I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
let's just.
that absolutely happens.
Offering, I never think in the moment to offer. Can you guys just separate a little bit? Like
Yeah,
that's a great get. So thank you, Michael. I
You're
appreciate
welcome, of course. Hi, Ali. Welcome. I'm glad that you liked my book or loved it, as you said. Very, very happy about that. Hi, Jess. Nice to see you. Janelle, do you got questions for me?
Well, literally, Nat asked the two exact things that kind of I had written down, and you pretty much touched on them. And the first one was how mediumship kind of bleeds into life, and the same thing, because I can watch someone talking, and if I know them, it's not like strangers usually, but there's these drop-ins. It's like a quick drop-in, and it's something that I just go, oh, okay. And I don't go anywhere. I don't go, oh, and try to lean in. But it's like, is that normal? Because I can't help it. I feel like I'm not even opened up. I'm not trying to receive. I'm just like engaged in whatever's happening. And it's like, it just kind of like in,
Yeah.
But you kind of answered that.
Well,
and then
let me just comment on that. So
okay.
if you are in a conversation with someone, or you're connecting with someone and you're just kind of chilling, right? And you're just sort of relaxed and surrendered and not really thinking about it. Think about when you're observing someone do a reading. Oftentimes you'll just pick up on what that person's picking up on, right? Like you'll get a sense of, ooh, there's a little piece of information that came to me. It's a little bit similar to that, where because you're in that sort of relaxed state, you're in that sort of, and also you are kind of connecting with someone. When we're talking to someone, we're giving them our attention. Especially if it's a deeper conversation, we can kind of zone into them a little bit more. And it would make sense energetically that like little things might start to come in, whether that's mediumistically or psychically, it will depend on how it's coming. But it would make perfect sense to me that a sensitive person who's cultivating their awareness and sensitivity would start to feel little drop-ins, as you called it, of information. I mean, that can absolutely happen. Again, it's one of those things of, do I like this or do I not like this? If I like this, it's fine. If I don't like this, then I can adjust it, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. And the thing I was going to say is, I think I've been fighting that part, like the clear knowing part, because, well, I feel like in mediumship, I have a lot of clear knowing. It's just there. And I think I'm realizing I kind of have done this my whole life, like Nat said too. And when I'm realizing, oh, how subtle, it's like really connecting with that subtleness.
Yes.
And it's like, dude, this has been happening forever. But you get mixed up. You get like, there's emotions and they're like, am I crazy? Blah, blah, all that stuff. So yeah, totally. And then what did I say?
Jess
was I going
agrees
to ask?
with you. Jess
Oh,
said yes.
And then the second part, Nat was talking about kind of the same thing. I always had that external, well, my mediumship, as you know, kind of changed. And there was always like this knowing. And it was so easy for me to distinguish. It was like, oh, I have this person, I have this person, I have this person, to distinguish everybody. And now everything is so internal and there's nothing to reach for out here, even though I'm not supposed to be reaching. And it's just so different. I know I just have to lean into it and go with it and have control issues, but everything is just in here now for some reason. It's like they're me and I'm just like, okay, trying to manage it or something.
Yeah,
without managing it.
when you say that they're you and you're having that sort of internal experience, do they ever switch?
Yes, and that's where I don't know, because I used to be able to tell so quickly, like, oh no, because it felt like it was here, but now it's just like a whole new feeling all of a sudden that I'm like, wait, they're showing me something else in their life, or I just kind of have to go with it, I guess, because it's like, yeah, it's hard to explain because it's new to me. So I'm still kind of like getting used to it.
For sure. So a couple of things is, if they are kind of drawing into your energy and getting close to you and sort of doing that deeper blending, something important to recognize is that even when they come in, you'll feel an energetic signature of who this person is. So be aware maybe a little bit of like, what is changing within my whole experience? What's changing within my being as this communicator steps in and blends in deeper with me? Notice, how does it shift and change me? Because that's how you'll tell the essence. That's how you'll tell who it is based off of the essence of how they feel when they step into your energy. Then let's say someone switches, you'll know they switched because the energy feels as if, okay, that's gone. And then now there's this new sense of this presence and new sense of this person. So that would be the way that you would kind of do that. Instead of it feeling like it's somewhere external from me, I'm sort of noticing. To be honest, I think it's just that you're not as aware or paying attention to the external process that's coming. And that's probably why you're not noticing it so much as far. It's more just like skipping that part and just now it's within me, which is fine. That's not a bad thing. But we do have to be aware of, how is this changing my essence? How is this changing the way that I feel? Because that is the indicator of who's there and who's not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what it is. And I think a lot of my mediumship, I was like, oh, it's better to stay out of here. F what's going on right here. Like, I don't want to be in here. And so it's a personal issue too. So now I'm learning, like, yeah, I gotta be in here. Yeah. I know what it means in my brain. I just can't like say it with my words right now. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So just decide I'm going to notice the subtle. Decide I'm going to have an offer to the spirit. Help me to have more distinction. Help me have nice, clear awareness of that. And they will support you in that for sure.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah.
Did you have another question, Jenny?
Yeah. No.
Let me check these other ones and see if anyone else do be asking. Is this a training session? It is a question and answer session, and you can ask anything you want about anything. So in a way, it could be a training session if you ask the right question. Then I will tell you the answer. So yeah, let me check this other one because my poor people over here. Okay, thankfully. Oh, I got a lot of watchers, but no questions in this other chats. So that's cool. Okay. Oh, do I have another one here? Okay, no, just put it. Oh, Matt, you put the meditations there for her. Okay, that's very good. Awesome. Other questions? Anyone in the Tickety Talks? If you have questions, do ask them. Even as a medium, do you still experience death anxiety? I think on some level, yes. I think it's the fear of what it's going to feel like. I think that's the part. Because like, I'm not a roller coaster person. Like, I don't really like the not control piece of all of that. So I think that's the part that kind of scares me. It's just like, oh shit, like something's just going to happen to me. And I have not really a good sense of what that's going to actually feel like. And that's what actually scares me. The dying part, not as much, because I'm pretty certain. Like, I will never say I'm 100% anything, but I'm 99.9% certain that I'm going to continue on after death, and that I've had out-of-body experiences before, and they match perfectly as far as like the sense of perception that people who have near-death experiences experience, right? That sense of your awareness being separate from you, having your consciousness absolutely away from your body, being able to see things in reality, et cetera, et cetera. So I've had an experience like that, which if that's what death is like, that simple transition, then it's just going to be like a blink. It's just going to be like you blink and now you're in this different state of awareness. Which, hey, if that's it, then no, I don't have any fear. But if it's going to feel weird or gnarly, that's the part that kind of freaks me out a little bit. I'm just like, oh, what if I feel like some weird sensation, or I don't know. It's the control thing. That's my biggest challenge, is I can be controlling. I like to have control. And so mediumship has helped me with that greatly, but it's interesting. So yeah, that's what I would say. My anxiety isn't about death itself per se. My anxiety is about the feeling. What is your opinion of what the afterlife is like, or is, and does it differentiate between what your religion is? So I don't have a religion. I don't have a specific belief system that I believe in. I base my ideas of the afterlife off of my own mediumistic awareness, as well as spiritualist concepts, as well as near-death and near-death experiences. And I don't like saying near-death experiences because those are too broad. I like to look at information that people are clinically dead, whether it's cessation of lung function, heart function, and brain function. Those are the accounts that I actually am interested in, because calling something near death is too broad. There's too many different things that people can think and say. You can have your life flash before your eyes and people call that near death. It's not. You have to be dead to actually be able to accurately get any information. And so I think it's important for us to differentiate that, because that's where near-death experiences that aren't clinically dead, you will see a lot of variation, where you'll see religious figures, famous people, like all these different things occur in those. But when you have a recalled experience of death, they are, that is a very consistent experience. And they exclude things like hell, heaven. They exclude things like Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha or whatever your belief system is, Krishna. That's not involved in any of that. It's quite literally just presence and spirit, and it's non-specific, unless it's one of your loved ones, right? Because your loved ones will show up and be there. And so it kind of excludes a lot of our previous beliefs that can color that. And I think that's very valuable for us to understand, is that, the more our mind is turned off, the more that we experience things much more clearly in the spiritual realm. And I say mind, I mean the thinking mind. And this is what we call the disinhibition theory of consciousness. The disinhibition theory of consciousness believes that the brain acts as a condenser or acts as a minimizer of our consciousness. When the brain stops functioning, our consciousness is released. And that's why people will talk about feeling that sense of expansion, that sense of being open, that sense of having more awareness. And that fits perfectly with what we teach in mediumship, right? The more we get out of our thinking mind, the more that we surrender, also psychic awareness, the more that we are quieting the thinking mind, the more that we experience this other awareness. So I'm a big person on the disinhibition theory, because I think it's very accurate to my experience of this. So, yeah. Sorry, I meant more like, do you think people go to where they believe it? So I kind of answered it just then. So the short answer is no, I don't believe that people go to where they believe in, unless you believe the evidence from, recalled experiences of death and all of that sort of thing. Because I think that people often come through in the spirit and say how they were surprised. Oh, actually, it wasn't what I thought it was religious-wise. It was something else. And that's not to say that I don't think that there could be consciousnesses, like a Jesus, like a Muhammad, like these sorts of things. Those could very well be there. But do I think that they are maybe the divine creator, and that they have all these rules and things that you have to follow, and if you don't do XYZ, you're an abomination before the Lord? No, I don't think that part's true. I think it's very people. That's very human, that's a very human sort of expression of understanding the divine. So yeah, that's what I would say. Thanks for that question. That was a good one. Janelle, you look like you want to ask something.
It made me think of something. Something happens when I either am waking up or going to sleep. And I mentioned it to somebody and they talked about the in-between state of like leaving your body and stuff. And it's basically this vibration, like in my whole body. And it happens so often now. And there's not much I can do. I'm not paralyzed. It's not where I've had that because I've had that before. But it's like I just kind of lay there until it slowly goes away. But I'm kind of like, well, if I can leave, let me do that.
Yeah.
Is there something I can do to?
Great question. I'm so glad you asked this one because yes, absolutely there is. So what you're experiencing is called exit symptoms. So an exit symptom is when someone's about to pop out of their body. When they're about to like astral project essentially. And this used to happen to me all the time too, Janelle, until I popped out of my body and that shit never happens anymore. So I'm like, what the hell? So, but like I used to wake up, especially if I slept in the day. I used to wake up in the exit symptoms. Hold on, I have to grab a little water because I got something in my throat. Give me 1 second. Seriously, I was like, I think Jason's dead. Oh, let's see. Okay. Sorry. It's what happens when you drink a pulpy little beverage. It gets stuck in your throat sometimes. So those are what's called exit symptoms. Oh my God, it's going to bug me until I get it out. I don't know what I did there. I'm going to do my best to get through it. Exit symptoms. Every time I say exit symptoms, it like tickles my throat. Tingling, buzzing, that sort of thing. It's actually where I learned this idea of relaxing past something. So you'll have heard me say that in classes and things like that, where like when we're sitting in the power, when we're doing these sorts of things, it was my experience of exiting my body and having that out of body experience that taught me, oh wow, when I let go and I do less and I soften, when I try not to change it and I just surrender, those sensations increase. So, so when you're feeling those feelings, Janelle, and you have those sensations, if you can surrender and soften, they will keep growing and they'll get more and more intense, more and more and more intense, more and more intense, more intense, more intense. And then well, for me, this is what happened. I had the thought for some reason. So I've woken up in those sensations so many times in my life and it always scared me, right? It's like intense, right? Like you feel like your heart's going to burst out of your chest. You feel like your whole body is like fucking electricity. It just feels crazy, right? And it's kind of like very scary if you don't know what the hell's going on. You think you're dying, right? For whatever reason on this day, I thought, I don't care if I die. I don't know why I thought it, but I thought it. And I was like, whatever. I could never tell you why that thought came, but that was pivotal. Because by me saying, I don't care if I die, and genuinely feeling that, it allowed me to not be afraid of what was going to come next. So what does that bring us? Ease, surrender, right? So I was able to just relax into the sensations and they grew, and then all of a sudden, blackout. And so I'm blacked out for a second. And then all of a sudden I have awareness in this blacked out moment and I can feel myself beginning to float. And I can feel almost as if something is pulling me upward away from my body. So like if this is my body sleeping, I'm doing this. I'm starting to go like this. And then I'm starting to go like this. And then I'm starting to go like this. And then I just did that. But what was fascinating is that at some point while I was exiting my body and I was kind of going like this, there came a point where I could see. Like I could see the ceiling. And I was like, what the heck? Because it was like 1 PM and I was like napping. And it was like, I was like this and I could suddenly, it was as if something went bloop. And like I could see the ceiling. And I was like, what the heck? And what was even crazier is like during that time period, as I could see the ceiling, there's this dual awareness that I had. So I was partially aware of my physical body and I was partially aware of this energetic body. And so although I'm seeing with my eyes, I could feel the heat of my eyelids touching each other. Yeah. So like I knew that my eyes were closed physically. And then it wasn't until my body, my spiritual, my energetic body moved far enough away from this physical body that I no longer sensed this body. So it was like this weird transition until eventually, okay, now I'm only here. I'm not in both. I'm just here. And so once that happened, then I was like, holy shit, I'm out of my body. It happened. Oh my God, what the heck? Okay, what do the books say? The books say, run around your room and jump back in your body. I'm like, okay. So then I intended, I'm going to run around my room. And then I looked at my body, and that was creepy as all hell because you see your fucking sleeping body over there with like the blanket up to here. And I'm like, you know, like just laying there, like looking like I'm dead, right? Creeped me out. And so then I was like, well, I'm already out of here. I don't want to just like, you know, jump back in and just like go back in. So I was like, I'm gonna go explore because like it looked just like my normal house, just like as if someone turned the brightness up. Like on your screen, if you just turned up the brightness, the whole space was this whole brightness. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to my sister's room because at the time we had a Jack and Jill bathroom. And so what was crazy is like if you ever saw the movie Ghost and like Patrick Swayze jumps through like the wall or something like that, that's what it was like. I was like, okay, and I just decided to jump through the wall. And then when I was in the Jack and Jill bathroom, it was all dark because the light was off, right? So there was no light coming in. So it was dark. And I was like, what the heck? And then I jumped through the wall again and got to my sister's room and it was bright again and I could see. And then I saw her sitting on the bed and I was like, with her laptop on her lap and some leopard sleeping pants or whatever. And I was just like, Marissa, trying to like get her attention, but she didn't like acknowledge it or like couldn't get it. And so then I was like, oh, screw this. So then I walked out and I got to like this balcony because we had an upstairs, downstairs house. And like the balcony, the staircase opened to like a bigger part of the house. And so I like jumped off of the thing, landed gracefully on the floor, and then jumped back up. And then I went back to my room. And this is the part that I'll never understand. When I went back to my room, I saw what looked like my younger brother, who was far away from us physically, at my body going, Michael, wake up, Michael, wake up, wake up, wake up. And I was like, what the heck, Adrian, stop. You're gonna like mess up my thing. Like, what are you doing? And so then I decided, screw it. I just started to go back towards my body. And then I got to my body. And what I learned is that your physical body, when you're out of body, around it has this perimeter. And if you get close enough to that perimeter, you'll get sucked back in. It's like, and so that's what happened. I was running towards my body and I ran and like jumped into it. And then it reversed my entire experience. So then I started falling. And so as I was falling, I was getting sucked back in and I could hear this wind, which is another exit symptom. It sounds like happening as I'm falling, and I could feel this wind. And I'm falling. And right as I was about to hit like back into my body, I'm looking up at the ceiling with my astral eyes. I blink, open my physical eyes, and it was the same exact image, which was really interesting. It just felt like I blinked. Like if I'm looking at the ceiling, I just blinked and like it's different. And then I did it and that was it. And so what you're describing, the reason I told that whole story is just because what you're describing is so related to exit symptoms. So if you can learn to not care about dying and just totally let go and surrender, if you can relax past the intense sort of vibrations and things that you'll feel, you'll probably pop out of your body. It's only happened to me one other time, but the problem is I got really excited. So like I felt myself floating out and then I get excited and then I start to sink back down. And then I'd relax and then I'd start floating back up and then I'd get excited and then I'd sink back down. And I just did this for 30 minutes, just going up and down like this, trying to like relax enough to where I can fully exit my body. And I was just going like this. And then finally I was like, fuck this. Just like got out of it. And I was like, this is so annoying because I was doing it intentionally that time. The first time was accidental. This was intentional. But anyway, you were nodding. You seem like you understood what I was talking about, Janelle.
Yeah. So, well, first the dream thing, because I go in my dreams and I can control. I'm aware that I'm dreaming a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. And the same thing when it's something cool, I know the moment I get if I get too like excited, I wake up and I'm like, damn it. But I can sometimes tell myself, go back to sleep and I go into this calm and think about where I was at, and I can go back there and continue the dreams, you know?
Yeah,
But
so
I
we
did
call that
have
lucid dreaming.
Yeah, I love, oh, it's so fun. Because hey, it's free game in there.
Yeah, so fun. So fun.
And but I did when I was 14, funny enough, it was during a nap around noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I sat up out of my body. But see, at that point, I didn't have any recollection of that vibrating, any of that experience. And all I know is I sat up and I remember the light coming in being extra, almost like white and bright.
Yes.
But it was soft too. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I remember like, okay. And I tried to say something to my friend and she didn't answer. And for some reason I turned and saw my body down there. And I'm like, oh hell, because that was my first experience. So I laid back in that thing and I was like, oh no. And then I sat back up and I sat out of my body again. So this happened and I panicked, you know. And then I told myself, just lay in there and relax. So I laid back in my body and I relaxed and just took some time. And then finally I sat up and I was in my body. And I've never been able to freaking do it again. But having these things for years, because I've had paralysis too. I woke up paralyzed and tried to scream. And I was like, what? I don't like that.
No,
I want to
sleep
go
paralysis is not really fun. Yeah.
No, that one's not cool. But so I am totally going to do that because, yeah, I didn't know because I tried it in meditation, kind of like doing this pulling thing to come out, but it just didn't feel right. I was
It's
like,
too
I
active.
don't know.
I've tried that one too, the pulling thing. I feel like it's too active. One of the things, so a book that's really good that I really recommend for out of body experiences. In fact, that's the one that gave me that first intentional one where I was like floated like this for a while. It's called Demystifying the Out of Body Experience by Luis Minero. And what I love about the book, it's a little bit technical, but what I love about the book is it takes away the like mysticism. Makes it not, airy fairy and just like a matter of fact, practical thing that comes out of being a human, having a spiritual experience. And so they have some exercises in there that I actually used to teach, but then kind of stopped, which is one of them is called VELO, voluntary elongation lateral oscillation or something like that. And it's where you take your energy and you bring it here and then to your feet and then here and then to your feet and here and to your feet. And you just do this over and over and over. And you can start to get like buzzing and all of that sort of thing that would happen. But they have so many exit techniques in there. But one of the things that was the most effective is this way that they laid down. You would put like pillows under your hands, you put pillows under your legs, you're basically trying under your head and your neck, and you're trying to make yourself as basically as weightless as possible. And that actually was helpful in exiting. I thought that was a really key component to that on demand. I've never been able to do it. After that one frustrating time, I've just been like, screw it. But like, I want to, because the thing is when you're out of your body, it's just like being awake. It's just like your normal awareness here. And then there's so many things you can do. You can go visit people far away. You can, I never left my house and I was like, damn it, I missed out on an opportunity. And the other thing I want to do is be like, take me to my spirit guide. Like, that's what I want to do. And then I'm going to ask him like a ton of questions. I'm going to be like, can I go to my spirit guide or can he show up or something? Can you like take me to that space so that, and I don't know if it would work, but I would imagine it might, because we move by the power of thought. And because that was the other thing. I didn't have legs. I didn't have a body necessarily, but I had a point of consciousness. And I felt like I was a certain height off the ground. Like I felt like I walked about 3 feet above where I would normally, is how it felt like. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I was just experiencing that. So yeah, I would do so many more things if I had the chance to get out of my body next time. I'm gonna be like, okay, first things first, where's my spirit guide? Like, let's talk. I need to talk to you. Like, give me everything I need to know. Tell me all the things, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. Mine was actually, I felt like I could see a little bit, but it moved. It was like a white, like flowy.
Yeah. I never thought to look at myself. I never thought to look at myself. So that's why I don't have an awareness of it, but I very well may have had some sort of physical thing. So
yeah. I'm so excited now.
Yeah, it's super cool. That was a great question. We are going to leave it there though. I don't think I'll be going live tonight because we're actually going to have a seance tonight, which I'm excited about. And Danielle, your buddy, is going to be there with me and Jason, Miranda, and Megan. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it'll be good. Sometimes they're not when you add, multiple people, because Spirit needs time to like adjust all the things. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. But yeah, I'm open to it. I'm excited. So, but thank you, everybody. It was great to see you. Normally I go live at 7 o'clock on Pacific time on Mondays, but that's what I'm going to be doing tonight because Jason's in town from Australia. So that's what we're doing. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Jen, welcome. So glad to have you here.
Thank you.
And I look forward to chatting later. Thank you so much. Take care,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Please end that one.